Good morning, good morning, good morning. It's me, Ryan, with the Morning Blast. Michael Brown is prompt. There he is. Let's wait for him to join before I do the legals because, as we know by now, he just won't believe me that I've done them.
Good morning, Ryan. Good morning,
Good,
everyone.
good morning. It's just me and you at the moment. Let me read the
Oh, right.
legals
Oh,
for
there's
you.
a good turnout this morning.
Well, yeah. We draw a crowd. Um, let me read out the legals. Nothing discussed on this space session constitutes trading or investment advice or infers any kind of endorsement by PIQ Global Limited, a Trainers PIQ or PIQ Suite, or its affiliates, which, as you know by now, is myself and Mr. Michael Brown. Morning, Suzanne at Zishi. Right, how are you, my friend?
That was slightly random. I'm all right, actually. Thank you, mate. How are you?
Good. I'm not too bad, thank you. I'm not too bad. I weekend spent working, unfortunately, but that's to make Richard Bernard
That
rich. There he is.
that
Um,
makes two of us, although I'm not sure I'm making anyone rich.
Oh, we're making yourself rich, mate, even if it's only morally. But
I was
anyway,
I was going to say, am I being paid for this now?
no, because I'm not. Right. What happened over the weekend, my friend, or last
uh,
week, even Friday?
Yeah, let's crack on. I mean, good morning, everyone. Obviously, it's the start of December now, so we're in what's always a bit of a weird period for financial markets, to be completely honest with you. I mean, I think everyone pretty much knows that the year is effectively
Gone.
over. You're certainly not going to make your year between now and Christmas, with effectively 3 weeks or so to go. But I think it would be very, very easy to lose the year. I think that's why.
No, see, you've said it wrong. You've said it
Um,
wrong. It's
oh, go on,
you
go
don't
on.
make your year in December, but you can break your year in December. That way it
Well,
rhymes. Come on.
I don't. I get slagged off when I go down that route normally, so
Well,
I was deliberately steering clear. But yeah, we do obviously typically see trading volumes thin out and liquidity dry up, and that will only become worse as December progresses. In terms of what's been going on over the last, over on Friday and over the weekend, it was a positive end to the week for US equities. The S&P ending the day on Friday about 2/3 of 1% higher, closing at a record high, and that was the 53rd all-time high that the
oh,
S&P 500 has notched this year. That is the joint fifth highest on record for an entire calendar year, and of course we still have 3 weeks left to go. In November, just for a bit of context, the S&P up by just shy of 6%, and that is the best month for the benchmark index in the last year. In terms of markets elsewhere, of course, it was the day after Thanksgiving, so things were a little bit choppy. It was also month end, so we can use that
true.
as a convenient excuse to describe some of the moves that we saw. The Treasury curve, we saw gains across the curve. 2-year yields falling about 7 basis points, 10-year yields down by about 10 basis points on the day. We have seen some of those moves retrace as the new trading week gets underway. That is a similar story in the foreign exchange market as well, with the dollar softer on Friday, down by about 1/3 of 1%, but the dollar index has erased all of those losses as the new trading week gets underway, and that seems to be a result of what were some weekend ramblings on Truth Social by incoming President Trump about the potential for 100% tariffs on BRICS countries if they go down the route of their own currency. Let's be honest. I mean, anyone thinking that the dollar is going to die anytime soon is just a bit of a muppet, to be completely honest with you. So
Correct.
I'm not entirely sure why we've seen such a significant reaction, but there we are. In terms of news and data flow, of course, things relatively light over the holiday weekend in the United States. We did, though, have the latest Eurozone inflation figures on Friday. Headline CPI rising by 2.3% on an annual basis in November, matching expectations and up from the 2% that we saw in October. Core CPI, though, holding steady at 2.7%. We were expecting an uptick to 2.8%, so a little bit cooler than expected. The market's still fully pricing a 25 bip ECB cut next Thursday, also pricing about a 15% chance of a larger 50 basis point move. We have heard from plenty of ECB speakers over the last 2 or 3 days, all of them saying that rate cuts are obviously going to continue, none of them hinting strongly that they are going to up the magnitude of those cuts anytime soon. A few other bits and bobs. Of course, focus remains on the French political situation as they struggle to pass a budget. There is the potential for a no confidence vote, which could end up collapsing the government. Michel Barnier, the Prime Minister, showing no sign of wanting to compromise per the headlines that we've seen this morning. Meanwhile, speaking of the holiday in the United States, according to Adobe Analytics, who always produce the data on this, consumers spent $6.1 billion online on Thanksgiving. That is a record spend and up by about 9% year on year. They also forecast spending of just shy of $11 billion on Black Friday. That's up 10% on the year, and about $13 billion on Cyber Monday, which is, of course, today. And that will be up by about 6% year on year. So that old adage should say of never betting against the US consumer seemingly ringing true once more. And last but by no means least, in this little sort of brief recap, is some good news
Wow.
for market participants here in the UK. There is the potential for the ONS to do something sensible for once. Bloomberg reporting this morning that the ONS will decide early next year whether they are going to go back to releasing UK economic data at 9:30 in the morning, when it always used to be, when the data came out on time, rather than this shambles that we have
Well,
at
here's
7 o'clock
my
in
thing
the
with
morning
this, right?
nowadays.
Yeah, great. It's coming out when the markets are open. The real reason why that's a good thing is because it makes punting on the gilt and the cable better, because obviously you can trade the figure. But does it really matter when the ONS, by their own admission, don't know if the data they're providing is accurate in the slightest?
Well, yes, it does, because it affects how early I have to wake
Well,
up in the
okay, if
morning.
we're going down that route, then yes, yes, fair enough, fair enough.
But you are right. I mean, they even
Yeah,
say
great.
that the
we're gonna
data they provide, they're not entirely sure
Yeah,
about it.
it's like,
So,
oh great, yeah, we're going to change the time when we release the data. We still have no idea if the data's accurate, but there you go. It's like,
well, according to them, it's going to take them until
yeah, I remember
2027
that.
to decide, whether how to get an accurate figure.
Eesh,
So I wouldn't hold your breath for that one.
eesh.
Anyway, that's pretty much
Okay,
it from me for
perfect.
now.
Thank you for that. Just some headlines from our friend Zach. Obviously, the overnight news roundup will be going out shortly as soon as this is over. Starting off in Europe, so the CAC and the euro underperforming. French yields are rising. This is obviously after the weekend's news that the France National Rally Party said they view the government as having ended talks about making concessions on the social security budget, setting the stage for a no confidence vote today. French finance minister said that France won't accept the artificial budget deadlines from Le Pen, as in today, as she gave her strongest indication yet that this could be the week for a no confidence vote. Moving across the pond, from
Oh,
go
sorry.
on,
Actually, one
yeah, go
more
on,
thing on
go
that.
go go.
This is also courtesy of Zach. Did you see what the French government spokesman was saying this morning?
I have not.
He came out on the wires probably about an hour ago now and said, and I quote here, which investor would want to
Oh yeah,
invest in France in such a climate of political uncertainty? Not sure that's the line to be taking, to be completely honest.
it's almost yeah. Let's shoot ourselves in the foot, so then we have to force through change. Maybe I don't know, but yeah, it was quite an odd one. It was definitely a case of saying the quiet bit out loud. Um,
Yes, exactly.
where was it? Going across the pond, Trump has been telling his friends that he denied Robert Lighthizer uh, his pro-tariff China hawk uh, trade representative in the first term a cabinet role, mainly because he said he was too scared to go too big. And he's loyal but too timid to take risks. Now this is being kind of jigged, reworded as if to say this is a very clear indication that Trump really wants to go very, very big in the opening 100 days or opening whatever of his administration. So one to keep an eye on. And big news, I guess, well, it is big news, and it kind of shows you how corrupt everything is. President Biden, after repeatedly saying many, many times that he's not going to pardon his own
Oh,
son,
yeah.
has pardoned his own son, wiping away his criminal convictions from anything basically from 2014 until today. Um, they're kind of specifying that it's the wiping away his criminal convictions for the tax and the gun charges, but it's basically a carbon. It's a blank piece of paper that just says anything after this period of time. So one interesting thing, and obviously put your tinfoil fedoras on for this bit, but Zero Hedge. did point out that an interesting timing on the date that Biden's chosen was just before Hunter became, well, Hunter was appointed to be on the board of directors for the Ukrainian gas um, producer. So an interesting one, and no doubt get a lot of traffic today on the wires. Moving very far away now, China's Politburo said that the huddle that the Politburo have last month apparently for the first time failed to publicly convene since May 2023. Now, this is quite an interesting one because it doesn't mean that they didn't convene, just means that they haven't revealed anything that was discussed. Now, there's two things that can happen
Mm.
here. Either A, obviously they didn't convene, or two, the stuff they discussed was so sensitive they don't want to reveal anything. Which, considering they've been quite vocal regarding all these policy kind of decisions and all the stimulus they keep pumping out, it's a bit weird that they've not revealed anything that was said during that meeting. So perhaps they didn't have one, I don't know. But it's one to keep an eye on if we do get any sources or anything like that coming out, although I suppose it's quite risky to be a source for stuff like that. um, Britain's Institute of Directors said on Sunday that optimism among its members had fallen to the lowest since the onset of the COVID-19 pandemic, following tax rises by Finance Minister Rachel Reeves's obviously via her first budget, which was on October 30th. Sticking in Europe, European gas traders expect prices next summer to be higher than the following winter. Now, this is unusual because normally it's winter when prices are stronger. This unusual bet reflects the steep cost of refilling the continent's storage facilities as it tries to wean itself off Russian supplies. So, as you should be aware, perhaps you're not, but you're now going to be aware, during the summer months, European countries look to fill up their storage capacity, and then they draw down on it in the winter, as you'd expect. Now, previously, they've been able to buy very cheap gas from Russia, and it's been easy and nice and cheap to fill up. But now it appears that we're going to be relying on LNG. Now, this isn't such a bad thing because the amount of LNG that's on tap has never been higher. I know for a fact, the Asian market's looking to fill the space left by the Russians. And also, there's a lot of US capacity coming online or has been online for the last year or so. So that'll be one to keep an eye on because obviously, when we get to this time of year, as in this time next year, everyone keeps an eye on the gas storage levels. Geopolitics, China has been studying the impact of Western sanctions on Russia, visiting Moscow periodically. And this is to draw lessons on how to mitigate them. And it's being kind of touted that this is particularly the case in case of a conflict over Taiwan. Moving to the Middle East, Syrian rebels advance breaks war's fragile stalemate. That's according to the headline. The Islamic group has advanced from its Idlib stronghold in lightning raid on Aleppo. Now, I saw a few people talking yesterday on social media about why is Russia kind of backing Assad in this? The simple reason is that Syria holds, the Russian Navy, sorry, have a base in Syria on the Mediterranean coast, and it's basically their only true blue water post in the region. Blue water meaning deep sea servers where they can store a lot of their kind of strategic assets that have direct access to the Med, which is obviously useful for Ukraine and stuff like that. So that is why that he's backing Assad. Ukraine PM Zelensky has suggested a ceasefire deal could be struck if Ukraine territory controls could be taken under the NATO umbrella, allowing him to negotiate the return of the rest later on in a diplomatic way. I guess that basically means give Russia what they already have, but the rest of it becomes NATO. That seems to be the TLDR on that. We'll see if that gets any traction. Now, finally, a couple of four headlines I've got on equities. Microsoft, if Tom Talks Cars is listening, probably not because he is in Dubai. Microsoft has cut NVIDIA GB200 AI server orders by 40% due to a problem with the backplane interconnect design. Michael, I'll pass that over to you to tell me what that means, but I'm guessing you don't know either. Um, Probably not. No.
No,
Design could delay.
I
Oh,
think
go on.
the only person who may know what that means is in
Yeah,
Dubai. If you haven't heard.
exactly. So they're going to delay production until March 2025 on that. JP Morgan and Tesla have mutually agreed to drop their legal battle over a $162 million stock warrant dispute linked to Elon Musk's 2018 funding secured tweet. So maybe that would be the death of that. Chinese EV maker BYD has also become a top iPhone manufacturer. manufacturing more than 30% of Apple's iPhone. There you go. I had no idea they were doing that, but good on them. And finally,
No, not
because
right.
it's a chance to have a little bit of a poop on Germany, which I'll never give up the opportunity for, Volkswagen workers will go on warning strikes today as plants across Germany. Labour union IG Metall said, marking the first large-scale walkouts at Volkswagen's domestic operations since 2018, which, as we know already, there's a lot going wrong in Germany at the moment, and they don't really have a functioning government. So things are going from bad to worse for the Z Germans. And over to you in the
Indeed,
studio.
they are. And we are both relishing that indeed. Right, moving on then to today and the week ahead. Of course, it is the first week of the month, and it is the first Friday of the month later on as well, which of course
Well,
means we've got
Aaron.
the US
Oh, you
labour
mean later
market
on in the
report
week,
coming
not
up
later on
later in the
today?
week.
So
No, not later on today. I'm not
I
wishing
was like,
time
what
away
the
that much,
fuck?
don't you worry.
How long was I asleep for?
No, 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 no. Anyway, in terms of today, we have a whole boatload of manufacturing PMI figures due from pretty much everywhere, to be completely honest with you. The final Eurozone data, that's due at 9 o'clock this morning. The final UK figures due at 9:30. The main event, though, will be the ISM manufacturing survey out of the United States. That data due at 3 o'clock this afternoon, and we're expecting the index to remain below 50, but tick up from the prior with the November print seen at 47.6 for a prior 46.5. In terms of speakers, today we do hear from the Fed's Williams and Waller as we move through the afternoon session. Those two considered two of the most influential on the FOMC. For context, the market currently discounting about a 2 in 3 chance that the Fed deliver a 25 basis point cut in November. Of course, the jobs data on Friday will be key in determining what the Fed are likely to do. Looking to the remainder of the week, tomorrow brings the latest inflation data from Switzerland. We also get our latest read on job openings in the United States through the October JOLTS survey. Wednesday is services PMI day with figures due from pretty much everywhere. But again, the main focus will be on the ISM services gauge out of the United States. That's expected at 55.5 for a prior 56. We also have the latest producer price inflation figures from Europe, the Q3 GDP data from Australia, and the ADP employment report from the United States, which is best ignoring. A busy day Wednesday also in terms of policy. We hear from Fed Chair Powell, ECB President Lagarde, and BOE Governor Andrew Bailey as we move through Wednesday afternoon and evening. Thursday, a little bit quieter. Retail sales out of Europe, jobless claims out of the United States. Note, of course, that the jobless claims figures this week, neither the initial nor the continuing claims data will pertain to the November non-farm payroll survey week. And of course, that non-farm payrolls print rounds off the week on Friday. Headline non-farm payrolls currently seen having risen by 200,000 in November. Of course, that is after a dismal 12,000 rise that we saw in October, the bulk of that having been negatively impacted by the hurricanes that hit during the survey period, and also by the strikes that we had ongoing at Boeing. And you would expect that weakness to be unwound. Unemployment seen holding steady at 4.1%, and average hourly earnings expected to have risen by 0.3% on a monthly basis. Friday also brings labour market figures from Canada, the latest consumer sentiment figures from the University of Michigan, and a relatively busy day of Fed speak as well, with 5 Fed speakers due on the wires after the jobs data on Friday afternoon. And that is pretty much your lot for this morning.
Thank you very much, Mr. Brown. Do you know where I'm going this evening? Have a guess.
The pub?
Well, kind of. Well, yeah, I will be. But yeah. I'm going to the Cigar Smoker of the Year Awards with Mr. Rich Bernard, who's listening in, and his wife,
Are you are
and a few
you
others.
uh, are you going to behave yourself this year?
I'm under orders after last year. Yes, yes. Okay, we didn't. I didn't think you were going to bring that up. Now I'm regretting bringing it up myself. But thanks. Uh,
You started it.
oh no! What have I done? What have I done? No, yeah, I'm under orders to turn up sober this year, so we'll see what happens. Yeah. So hopefully, I'm
Probably
hoping I'm going to
wise.
get Young Cigar Smoker of the Year award. But we'll see. Right.
Young.
Well.
Well, I mean, I guess in the context of the rest of the room, probably.
Yeah. True. Right, Mr. Brown. Thank you for that. I will see you tomorrow morning. Oh, and also
Indeed.
we're going out for beers tomorrow. Woohoo! Right, listeners, remember, as we said earlier on, you can't make your year in December, but you can break your year. So if you are trading, please, please, please keep it tight. It's going to be reduced liquidity probably now until the new year. But have a good one, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Bye bye.
Bye bye. Bum, ba-dum, bum, ba-dum, bum, ba-dum, ba-dum.
Oh.